Guys, Tom back here for another Gimme 10 video. It's going to be from 1983. I haven't really been keeping up with the 80s Gimme 10 videos as much as I did with the 70s. Or doing as many, I should say. Because I have been watching some of them, but yeah, I decided to jump on for this one. Have some time, so we're listening to in the background is actually not from the 80s, but you can hear it. We're listening to his Joe Bonner, The Lifesaver. This is from 75 on Muse. It's a white label promo. Can't show you it's white label promo, but not like it matters. Just a really nice solo piano date, post bop. Big fan of Joe Bonner. Didn't do too much solo stuff, unfortunately. So, but yeah, 83. Let's get into it. Definitely, really happy to have this. I showed this before. Definitely one of the cornerstones of my collection, personally. Not crazy rare, but still, Brother Ra. Sound this, wait. Key to Nowhere. Sorry, I forgot the name for a second. Key to Nowhere. Fantastic jazz, deep jazz, spiritual jazz, whatever you want to call it, but so good. This is on the, what label is this one? I always forget. Divine Records. That's what it is, Divine Records. Sorry if there's a glare, but pain in the ass. Yeah, fantastic. Brother Ra, highly recommend getting the reissues if you haven't yet. They sound great. I'm just trying to collect the originals. I have 2 of them, but highly recommend this one. I think he actually still does a radio show in the DC area, a jazz radio show. So if you're down in DC, check it out. I'm sure it's probably online too. I know I've listened to excerpts of it. All right, next up here, some prog psych stuff. This is Cosmic Debris. Name of the album is While You're Asleep. It's their second album. I don't really know too much about these guys. I think they only had 2 albums. They're from Oklahoma. I think from Oklahoma City, maybe. I know they're from Oklahoma. Derek's neck of the woods. But yeah, really nice. The first one was more electronic. This one is just more straight up prog, psych prog, kind of really out there prog stuff. But really good. Really enjoyed it. Definitely has electronics as well. It has synthesizers, obviously. Just the first one seemed more synth heavy, I guess you'd say, as opposed to this one. Excuse me. But still, if you can find it, definitely worth checking out. Moving on, Heads Up. Chris Cole tipped me off on this one a while back. Really nice, really funky stuff. This is on the Dagnum label, which is Dennis Gonzalez's label. And I believe this is a group that he put together. Even though he's not really in the group, he plays on the record. Plays percussion instruments mainly. Yeah, really cool. Unfortunately, these guys didn't do much more than his first record, but he said, like, it's really funky avant-garde jazz stuff. Really enjoyed this one. It's really not too expensive either. When it does pop up, it's not the easiest thing to find, so. Followed up by another Chris Cole recommendation. He put a bunch of us onto this one. Actually put me in touch with the artist himself. This is Larry Chernikoff, Gallery of Air. Fantastic sort of, describe this, new age jazz, even though I don't really like the term new age. Just really good jazz, electronic. Yeah, it's really nice electronic jazz stuff. Another high recommendation, for sure. So you have Larry Chernikoff, Tom Schmidt, Don Davis, Tim Moran, which he's a great player in his own right, and he does a great job on this. Stephen Walt, I think that's it for players. On the Muse Art label, I think is his own label. But yeah, like I said, really nice, kind of electronic, new agey in a sense. But new age gets a kind of a bad rap, unfortunately. But great stuff, highly worth checking out. I believe there's some samples online. I think Larry still has copies, so you can still get copies from straight from him. I think he's on Discogs. I sell them on Discogs now, so Got one here from Michael Urbaniak. This is a combination of Michael Urbaniak and Larry Coryell band with Facts of Life. One of Michael Urbaniak's later records, not my favorite from him, but still pretty solid. Obviously Larry Coryell, guitarist, great jazz guitarist. Yeah, it's avant-garde fusion stuff. It's still really good. Like I said, not my favorite from him, but still really good. Especially having Larry Coryell on the record, Ursula Dudek, which is wife at the time, Kenny Kirkland, Victor Bailey, Omar Hakim. Sorry. Yeah, solid record though. If you can find it, it's usually cheap, so recommend picking it up. One of my favorite Dollar Brand records, we know he's known as Dulari Ibrahim on this. So Dulari Ibrahim with Carlos Ward, live at Sweet Basil, Volume 1. There was no Volume 2, from what I know, I've searched. It's a duet, Dulari Ibrahim on piano, and Carlos Ward on sax and flute. But just really fantastic, beautiful jazz session here. Yeah. If you haven't heard it, definitely, if you're into a Dollar Brand at all, highly recommend checking this out. Not one that gets mentioned a lot, but definitely one of his best, in my opinion. Especially one of his, wow, sorry about the brightness in back of me if you can see that. Something weird with the camera picking it up. Yeah, anyway, fantastic record, highly recommended. Yeah, sorry about that glare, guys. I don't know what's going on with the autofocus right there. An album I've been after forever, and so glad I finally found this. I found this a while back, but still glad I did. The Brooklyn Conservatory Faculty Jazz Ensemble. That's kind of a mouthful. Yeah, really nice. Like I said, it's really not really crazy expensive, but it is kind of rare. It doesn't always pop up, so when it does, pays to jump on it. I kind of describe this in like the deep jazz, spiritual jazz, maybe would fit good like on Nimbus, something like that. So think of that style jazz. This is just from the East Coast, obviously. Yeah, all these are pretty high recommendations actually. One of my favorite soprano saxophone players, Mr. Steve Lacy. This is one of his later touring groups, the Steve Lacy 7. The name of the album is Prospectus. This is on the Hat Hut label. Just open it real quick just to show you guys the inside. I always love the way Hat Hut does their packaging. Really nice box sets. Yeah, everything really cool. They sound great. So he's got the usual crew on here. Steve Potts, George Lewis on trombone actually joins him. Bobby Few on piano, was a great piano player. Irene Abbey on cello and violin. Oliver Johnson on drums and percussion. Yeah, I've always enjoyed Steve Lacy's playing, especially in his later period here, where he's it's avant-garde free, but there's definitely still some scales and structure to it at the same time. Kind of hard to explain the structure, but free. It's just really great playing. If you're interested in Lacy, you'll know what I mean. But great stuff. Moving back to some Polish jazz, and one from Tomasz Stanko. The name of this is Tomasz Stanko plays w Pałacu Prymaskowym, which basically translates to he plays at the Palace of the Bishops in Warsaw. It's exactly what it is. Side B is just him solo trumpet playing at Palace of the Bishops. Side A is actually a quintet session from 73. Yeah, from 73 at the Jazz Jamboree in Poland. There's two totally different feels, on each side, but still really cool record. Whole jazz label. I think Janusz Muniak is actually on side A. Yep. Plays the saxophone, tenor, and soprano sax. Zbigniew Seifert is actually on violin on the A side as well. So two fantastic players. Really cool record. Doesn't go for a lot either. So. And to end it off here, one of my absolute favorites from '83. Pretty slept on, underrated album in my opinion. This is Dwight James with Inner Heat on the Cadence Jazz label. Cadence Jazz usually has pretty solid recording, pretty solid stuff, and the records don't go for crazy money. This is definitely one of the better ones in my opinion. I believe this is his only solo record with him as a leader. Dwight James is a drummer, if I didn't mention that. Drummer, percussionist. And from what I understand, he recorded this whole album with a broken foot or broken toe, which must have been hell, but he plays it off well because it sounds fantastic. So another sort of deep jazz, spiritual jazz vibe on here. You have Dwight James on drums, Bayard Lancaster on sax, alto sax, Midi Middleton on tenor sax, Clarence Bradley on trumpet, Con Jamal on vibes, and Howard Cooper on bass. So just killer lineup. Bayard Lancaster, Con Jamal together, fantastic. Howard Cooper, great bass player. Dwight James is a fantastic drummer as well, so if you've never heard this, definitely highly recommend this one as well. I know I said a lot of high recommendations in this, but they're all great records. It's kind of why I wanted to come on and do this. '83 seemed to be a great year for jazz. And that's it. And the record just ended actually. Side one just ended, so perfect timing. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.